Greetings. Discussions in an online course can engage the students and encourage collaborative learning. In this session, we will take a look at how we set up discussion forums in the discussion board and link to them from the weekly learning modules that we have set up in the course. Before we go to the course setup, let us first understand the organization of different types of content in Blackboard. First is the navigation panel on the left side of the course. This panel allows us to add links. For example, in the course that we set up, we have added the introduction and weekly content. And students can navigate to the different parts of the course from this main navigation. We can add various links for tools in this navigation panel also. Next, we have the container areas that are available in Blackboard by default. For example, the announcement area where we can post the announcements. And there's also the discussion board, and we can add various discussion forums to this discussion board. And the same for tests, blogs, wikis, and so on. Next, we have the content area. So this is where we've set up content using features of Blackboard such as item, and then we've also used the learning module. And then within the learning module, we have the different components which are relevant to that specific module. What can sometimes feel confusing is that we are able to create links to the different components, and therefore it appears like there would be cross links. For example, from the main navigation panel, we have the link for the discussion board. But then from weekly content areas, we have the first discussion, which is linked to a specific discussion within the discussion board. Same for the week 2. We have discussion 2, which is linked to a specific discussion in the discussion board. So though this can appear confusing at first, it will get clearer as we start organizing and populating the content in Blackboard. In Blackboard, this link takes us to the discussion board, and the discussion board has various forums, which is where the students will participate in the discussion. We also link to the discussion. So this is the link to the discussion, which we can set up within the content area. So for example, here, this is the weekly content for week 1 learning module. And there are 3 components there. And the third one, when the student clicks on it, it will show the discussion. But to participate in the discussion, the student needs to click to launch. So in our course on sea turtles, there are 3 discussions, 1 for each week. So let's get to the course now. So here's our design document. And as you can see, discussion 1 is part of the learning module for week 1. Similarly, there is a discussion 2, which is a part of the week 2 learning module. And then the same structure for discussion 3, which is a part of the week 3 learning module. So first thing we do is we go to the discussion board. So clicking on discussions takes us to the discussion board. Now we will create a forum. This is the title, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in here. Notice that this discussion forum is worth 100 points. Next, we are going to copy and paste the text from here. And I know you may be wondering about the green text, but remember, we select the pasted information, and first thing we do is remove formatting. And now we will use the formatting options available within Blackboard to format this text. This is a list, so we've got 1, 2, 3, which will be displayed as a list. And then the grading criteria is a subheading. So we go here, subheading 1, and we have to make it blue. So let's select this blue and remove the instructions. And finally, the grading criteria are to be displayed as a bulleted list. So we will click on that. As we scroll down, there are various options that we can select and set. But the most important here is the grade point value, 100 points. Now, if you want the students to first post to the discussion and then they can view what other students have posted, then you would select this. And something else that I find helpful is that I don't want students to attach files for their discussion post. So I uncheck that so they have to post directly into the discussion field. So now when I click submit, I have set up my first discussion. But what we also need to do is we need to link to this discussion forum from week 1. Go ahead and select this prompt and copy it. Week 1. If I look under tools, there's the discussion board. I'm going to link to a specific discussion forum by selecting the radio button here, selecting the discussion, and then I click on next. There is a field here where I can post the instructions or the prompt. So I'm just going to paste the information that I copied from the forum. Now again, one thing you will notice is that even though I'm copying from within Blackboard, it brought the background with it. So unfortunately, I still need to go back to removing the formatting and then format it again using the options that are available here. So now we are all set. We can make this link available or not available. You can display it for a specific time period and you can track the number of views. Let's just go ahead and click submit. This would be a good time to check the student preview to see how the discussion is going to function. So from a student's perspective, the student can access discussions by clicking here, clicking on the discussion, and since we have a post first discussion forum, they will need to create a thread before they can view what others have posted. They can also access the discussion by going to weekly content, going into week 1, clicking on discussion 1, and from here if they click to launch, they again come to the same place and now they can create the thread and participate in the discussion. And once we have set up the discussion for week 1, we can use the same process to set up the discussions for weeks 2 and 3.